We have featured so many deported veterans on our show. Probably that subject, in terms of immigration, we've covered so often. It was such a travesty to see veterans who have served our country honorably, went to war to protect what we would believe would be our liberties and freedom, whether you believe it was a just war or not, but certainly they were going to war to protect the United States of America, and then they get deported. So on Friday, the Biden administration unveiled its plan to bring back hundreds, maybe even thousands of deported veterans and their immediate family members back to the United States, saying that their deportation and their removal, and I'm quoting Joe Biden, failed to live up to our highest values. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas ordered his department's immigration agencies to immediately take steps to ensure that military families may return to the United States. Mayorkas said in a statement on Friday, the Department of Homeland Security recognizes the profound commitment and sacrifice that service members and their families have made to the United States of America. We are committed to bringing back military service members, veterans, their immediate family members who are unjustly removed, and ensuring they receive the benefits to which they may be entitled. Now, President Biden has promised on the campaign trail to direct the Department of Homeland Security during his first 100 days in office to stop targeting veterans and their families for deportation, a process that Donald Trump and his administration was continuing throughout their entire 4-year administration. Now, veterans advocates have expressed concern that few veterans or their relatives have returned, while many more are in deportation. In a memo Friday, the heads of Department of Homeland Security's immigration agencies says they are going to review all of the policies to welcome, to remain in, or return to the United States of America. Nice. Officials said they're going to work with the Veterans Affairs, Department of Veterans Affairs, Department of Defense. The Department of Homeland Security is going to establish a military resource center, and the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, although they've been deporting veterans for decades, including when Biden was actually vice president with Obama president, but in a 2019 Government Accountability Office report found that the precise number of deportees is completely unclear. Now, typically, veterans were deported for crimes they committed after coming back from military service, and many of them after suffering post-traumatic stress disorder after returning from combat. We had at least half a dozen deported veterans on our show who joined the military, came to the United States at young ages, had green cards. The military never told them to become citizens. They assumed they were citizens. They come back from war, Afghanistan, Iraq, and they end up having a drug problem, an alcohol problem, post-traumatic stress disorder problems, like many people in the military. All right, whether it's an American citizen or a resident. And the military just completely let these people down because as an American, they even let the Americans down who came back with post-traumatic stress disorder, but at least they weren't deporting them. So people with post-traumatic stress disorder came back. They got themselves in trouble with alcohol, drugs, small robberies. We spoke to many different people who went through it all. They weren't expecting, after serving in the United States military, putting their life at risk, that they would get deported and go back to a country that they never knew about. So it's finally at least they're recognizing what the United States did. Typically, veterans were deported because they were convicted of crimes. Veteran advocates have said that many fell into trouble because of post-traumatic stress disorder, just like I said, but many of these relatives had no criminal records. After more than 2 years in deportation, for example, 58-year-old Mexican citizen Juana Flores, who has 10 children, 18 grandchildren in the United States, including a son serving overseas in the U.S. forces, returned to her home in California on June 4th. She returned as a United States citizen after being deported. So that's nice. Wow. I know we have had many veterans on our show. We're going to talk about it in much greater detail tomorrow. We'll see if the Biden administration walks the walk and not just talks the talk.
I hope so.
I hope so. Meanwhile, on Friday, President Joe Biden hosted a naturalization ceremony at the White House. He welcomed 21 immigrants as citizens of the United States. That's very nice. That would be a nice honor if you were going to become a citizen of the United States of America, to get invited to the White House and get sworn in by the president.
Right.
That would be a nice thing, I would think, right?
Yeah.
Now, the ceremony was part of a U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services effort to swear in nearly 10,000 new citizens in 170 naturalization ceremonies between June 30th and July 7th. I can say that although immigration is moving very, very slowly, the naturalization process has picked up speed recently.
That's good.
So at least filing for citizenship, those interviews have been coming a lot faster than people's work permits and green cards. Now, acting USCIS Director Tracy Renaud and Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas joined Biden at the ceremony at the White House on Wednesday. Mayorkas had administered the oath of allegiance virtually to 22 military service members. So that's very nice. Let's see what else is happening. Oh, this is not so nice, Vanessa. 230 people were fatally shot on July 4th.
Oh my goodness.
In the United States of America. You don't really read about it. We talk about gun violence in the U.S.
Fatally, though?
Yeah, we talk about gun violence because I think it's important that we keep talking about it until somebody does something about it. At least 233 people were killed. 600. This is the United States of America.
Damn.
233 people killed by guns.
That's wild.
618 people injured in more than 500 shootings across the United States of America.
For what? Like, what?
For what?
What do they just like? But
I don't know.
This is
Friday to Monday. This is the weekend.
I feel like that's like every year though, because anytime we always say 4th of July, everybody's always like, I need to stay in. Like, find a place to watch the fireworks in a safe place, because there's always so many shootings on.
Yeah. In New York City alone, 26 victims, 21 shootings. Chicago, 100 people were shot.
Jeez.
18 people killed between Friday 6 p.m. to Sunday night at midnight.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, happy holiday,
This is exactly
America.
why we say, get rid of it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Meanwhile, the remaining portion of the Champlain Towers South condo building in Surfside was finally demolished. I read a sad article that there was a cat that was still alive in the building, and a animal activist went to court to try to stop the demolition and go in and save the cat. And sadly, a judge said no. It was too dangerous because they had already wired the building with detonation devices. Why they didn't go try to save the cat before, maybe that wasn't their priority. They were trying to save humans. I don't know, but it was very sad. I saw so somewhere in that destruction there was a live cat, somebody's pet. Lots of pets died, 2 of there, and died. Now, Miami-Dade County Mayor Daniella Levine Cava told CNN in a briefing Sunday night that once the area has been deemed secure following the building's demolition, search and rescue will continue. I don't expect them to find anybody. The demolition was planned to be confined to the immediate area around the building. Now, officials have been racing to demolish the building because, as Vanessa had said, Tropical Storm Elsa heading south to South Florida, heavy rains, winds 60-mile-an-hour winds. Now, appearing on Sunday's Face the Nation on CBS, Surfside Mayor Charles Burkett underscored the authorities are still working with the mindset that remains a rescue effort. I don't think it's a rescue effort. I think it's a let's get the remains of the victims and give them a proper burial effort at this point.
And then they haven't got all the...
No, they found, last count I saw 32. They have recovered 32 bodies. But there was, as of the weekend, 150 people missing.
Yeah, I had read an article where an elderly couple was found in a bed, in their bed. That was so sad to me. How many people, went to bed that night and was like, okay, see y'all tomorrow.
Yeah, it was very sad. And apparently, according to the engineering reports, at least the preliminary reports, what they're saying is that the building, at least this is the best guesswork of engineers at the moment. It's not a fact, but it's guesswork by the engineers. But at the moment, what they're saying is that the building was lacking the proper structural support in the excavation part of the building, And it was lacking not because it wasn't designed properly, but it wasn't built properly. So whoever was the builder, the theory being right now, whoever built this condominium kind of skimmed on the proper support needed for a 12-story
How can you do
condominium.
that? How can you just skim
On the foundation.
On the foundation portions of it. So if that foundation becomes unstable, the whole building collapses like a house of cards. Now, what my question is how the heck are people still living in the other tower, knowing this information?
So, were they? Do you guys think that they were?
They were built together.
They were built
twin.
together.
They were like twin condos built together,
gosh.
a north and
there's
south.
No way
so how are you possibly still living in that building?
I mean, can you get your money back for
no,
something
you
like
can't
that?
get your money back from this. No,
It's like millions of
What
dollars.
do you think, Vanessa? You think this is going to affect the real estate? I mean, in Miami, the real estate market has been, skyrocketing, probably more than any other place in the United States of America. The real estate market in South Florida, anybody who's tried to buy any real estate in any part, I'm not even talking on the beach, anywhere in South Florida, has been going astronomical because of low interest rates. People say they like the idea that, South Florida is warm, lower taxes certainly than in the Northeast, and they don't have the COVID restrictions in the Northeast. So people have been really moving to Florida and pushing up the real estate. Do you think this is going to have an effect? You just moved to Florida. You think, what are your friends and family saying down in Florida? That people are now scared to go buy?
I don't think so. I really don't think, this is like anything else. Like, it could have happened anywhere. It could have happened. It's clear that it was like an engineering issue. Like, I don't think, even for myself, I mean, I'm looking to purchase my first home and it's going to be down there in Florida, and seeing an occurrence like this doesn't make me think twice about purchasing down south.
Would you be concerned? This is a 40-year-old building that was built in the late 70s, early 80s. According to the news reports, it was a lot more lax in terms of 40 years ago, in terms of the requirements to build, the safety reviews of the buildings. Apparently, there was even been some talk about payoffs from different people who were building buildings for the engineers to look the other way. Are you concerned about moving into a building that may have been built 30, 40 years ago in South Florida? I would be.
See, that's a different point.
I would be.
Here. Now we're niching down. Now you're getting more specific. I'd probably have to really, I'd think about that one.
And Jill says in my ear that the other tower was evacuated, so I don't believe anybody is.
Well, they should. Well, if you're going to blow up the half of it, right?
Well, no. There was two buildings. They evacuated the building
that was still up.
That was still up. Obviously, they destroyed that. They didn't keep the people living in there.
Right.
I assume there's about $60 or $80 million. I think I read I forgot it was $60 or $80 million in total insurance. So you buy a $2-3 million home, it's destroyed. It's if you live, okay, you have a complete loss of your home, all your property and belongings in that home, and if God forbid you died, your estate has not only your loss of value of your entire home and all the contents of that home, but the estate also has the value of the person's life who died, plus their pain and suffering.
Right.
And you have $60 to $80 million to divide that amongst everybody. So people are not going to get paid out what they expect to get paid out. So, I mean, just thinking about it from a financial point of view and lawyer point of view, there's not enough money to go around.
Right.
Not for that catastrophic loss.
Man.
Unless, obviously I'm sure some people had life insurance, so their life insurance will pay out. Other people had personal insurance, so their personal insurance may pay out. But certainly in the building, there's not going to be enough money to go around. Not for the values of those apartments, the contents inside of those apartments, plus the loss of life and the pain and suffering of people. You don't, who knows how much people suffered? Did you die instantly? Were they suffering underneath the rubble? You know, people are gonna.
There's been so many different things.
Yeah, I mean, people are gonna, you know, as you get people to come out, you know, I assume that there's going to be a review by an autopsy done, how the person died. Did the person die immediately? Did they suffer under the rubble for days or hours or minutes? You know, because you know the medical examiners can figure that one out too.
Right.
You know, and if somebody's suffering under rubble for days, that's a much greater value than dying instantly. as sad as it is. The United States has more than 33.7 million confirmed coronavirus cases. You know my thinking with the coronavirus at this point? I'll give you my 2 thoughts on it.
Thoughts. Let's hear them.
You know when coronavirus is going to go away?
When
everybody in the world either gets it or is vaccinated. It's got to go all around the world to billions and billions of people. Either every person is going to get coronavirus and then you're going to become immune, or the person's going to be vaccinated. And until
how long do you think that could take?
I have no idea. But until it goes around and everybody becomes, it's just going to keep going for. We're going to. In 5 years from now, we're going to be like, all right, in coronavirus news, it's just going to go on and on and on and on and on. I don't think it's just ever going to go away. So to me personally, as I think about it more, I think all these lockdowns and quarantines and everything else, I think it's the opposite of self-serving, because ultimately everyone's going to end up having to get sick. So the only people, me personally, my opinion, people who should be quarantining are people who are literally, if you get sick, you would die.
Right.
But short of that, you can quarantine for the rest of, you know, I read Australia's back under quarantine.
Oh, really?
You know, I mean, you can quarantine forever, but until it goes through your population, it's going to go through it.
One way or another.
One way or the other. So either get vaccinated or say, I'm not going to get vaccinated, and eventually I'm going to get it. It's going to happen.
Well, even if you get the...
Doesn't mean you're going to die.
Right, but I'm saying, like, even if you get it, I don't know if that would even stop it, because you're only immune for, like, what, a couple months, and then you could get it again, you know?
Nobody really knows. My 2 cents of understanding it, and it's literally 2 cents of value that I'm giving you, because nobody really understands it, is I think if you have COVID or you have the vaccine and you get it, it seems that the second time around is less severe. The third time around would be even less severe than that. So it seems to me that if you have the antibodies for COVID, even if you get it, the severity is less, whether it's because you got vaccinated or because you previously had COVID.
Got you.
That's what it seems to me to be. But I think all of these quarantines at this point are actually doing the opposite of, you know, what it's intended, because you're not going to save lives. You're just delaying the inevitable. Prime Minister Boris Johnson told residents of England they plan to end their quarantines in England on July 19th. They're calling it Freedom Day. Duchess Kate is self-isolating after she tested positive for coronavirus. Russia, 25,000 new coronavirus cases in January. We're just going to keep going on and on about this until everybody gets it, sadly.
Yeah.
All over the world.
All over the world. 14 people were arrested in Mumbai, India, in connection with a scheme to administer fake COVID vaccines to thousands of people who got injected with salt water.
Whoa.
Yes, that's lovely.
Wow.
The highly infectious Delta variant now accounts for 25% of cases in the United States. In Israel, they're saying, because Israel has been vaccinated by the Pfizer vaccine, they're saying that Pfizer is not. Now, Pfizer says it is. Now, according to the Pfizer people, their vaccine protects against Delta. But in Israel, they are reporting that people who have had the Pfizer vaccine are getting COVID. So it may not be 100% with the Pfizer vaccine. But you know what? You read different things from different people, so who knows? Comes down to, Vanessa, everyone's got to get it. That's what I really believe.
Everyone's. Yeah. Okay.
What do you? Is that what? I wonder what the squad thinks.
I just asked them if they're going
Yeah. What
to
do
get,
they think?
Yeah, I just asked them if they're going to get vaxxed if they haven't
But
already.
but do
like,
they think? What do they think of that theory? Because I don't know how it's going to end. I mean, it's either going to end one of two ways. Okay? Because I thought about this over the weekend. Either everybody in the world quarantines for 14 days. Literally everybody locks themselves in their house. Nobody can give it to anybody else. And then that's the end of COVID.
No one's going to respect that, though.
No, but you would have to get every person in the world to do it, which would never happen. Or just wait for it to go around the world. Everybody gets sick. You eventually get the antibodies, and unfortunately, some people will die. Sadly.
Right. Or people can just get vaccinated.
I was supposed to come as a butler. I came as a sailor.
He came as a sailor. I want you to know something. Every July 4th, I say to myself, this is the year I will not watch the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. And why
really watch it?
And why I will not watch it is because every time I watch it, I am disgusted beyond belief that anybody could shove that many hot dogs down their throat.
Yeah, it's
I said, that is disgusting, man.
It's insane.
It is insane, disgusting.
It's a bit excessive.
So, of course, this year, I watched it again. Because I have a sick, depraved mind and I had to see this Joey Chestnut go for his 14th win. Let me have some tea as I think about this.
Yeah, that just makes me sick.
Did you watch? You ever watch this?
No. It's disgusting.
I don't, but I watched Yo-Yo cooking hot dogs on his sidewalk this weekend, and that looks like fun.
But look at this guy,
fun.
Joey Chestnut. He ate 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes. But it's just not only the hot dog, it's the hot dog and the bun.
And then hot water
And
that you
hot
gotta,
water to get it down.
Ugh.
And look, he's not even a fat guy. He looks like olive oil, the female olive oil.
Right.
He looks like male olive oil. You know olive oil from Popeye?
Yes, but that doesn't mean that you're healthy because you could be that skinny and have diabetes and high blood pressure. So.
Well, it was the 14th time in a row. He is the top-ranked hot dog eater in the world, and he won the title 15 years in total.
That's wild.
Yes.
15 years?
Yes. Is that the...
In a row?
14 in a row, 15 in total. Now, according to Nathan's, legend has it that the first contest of its kind was held on July 4th, 1916. 4 immigrants. They got 4 poor immigrants to come and do a hot dog eating contest.
Oh, wow.
And all the immigrants were competing to show how patriotic they would be by eating the American hot dog in Coney Island. And since then, every year, they've had a hot dog eating contest, but started by immigrants.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I would never do it if you're going to ask.
Well, then.
I couldn't.
I want you, after that, you
I'm
can't
an immigrant still not having that many hot dogs.
No.
Not me. No.
Meanwhile, I wonder if the immigrants who first started the hot dog eating contest invented bunning. It's when they dip the bun.
Disgusting.
They dip the bun in the water to make it go down faster.
First of all, that's the
gross,
nastiest
gross.
thing. When I was
Gross.
I can't really say. When I was going through a process for an
fraternities,
organization,
yeah.
Sometimes we would have to eat like bread in
gross.
hot water and just like scarf down just a bunch of stuff. But like the thing that really was the nasty was just bread and hot water. The consistency, it's just.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you can't talk about your fraternity,
Yeah, no.
but I
That is
think,
very
by the way, going back to coronavirus, I'm sorry for hot dogs 1 second and fraternities. I think they should start calling coronavirus variants after fraternities. Like this is instead of the Delta, this is like the Lambda Chi. This is like the Tri-Delt, strand.
I mean, Delta
do it after fraternities and sororities.
I mean, Delta is after a sorority.
I know. That's why I'm like, I should be making it after fraternities and sororities.
Right. It makes sense.
Britney Spears, this poor woman.
Free Britney.
I'm totally free Britney.
Me too.
All right, I am totally free Britney. I don't understand as an attorney how this conservatorship works. How she's complaining now that she went up and made a very lucid statement that she is not a crazy woman, that she wants out of this conservatorship. Meanwhile, every penny being spent by her lawyers the conservators' lawyers, the father. It's all Britney's money from her work. And to this day, her lawyer, who is appointed by the judge, she can't even pick her lawyer.
That's wild.
It blows my mind that this could actually happen to an individual. Right. Her lawyer still has not made an application to the court to eliminate the conservatorship. Because money makes the world go round, Yo-Yo.
There you go.
All right? Nobody wants to end this thing because too many people are getting rich.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
That's wild.
Yes. For 13 years, Britney has lived under a system that restricts her control over her life and finances. She's called it abusive. In a June 23rd hearing, pleaded with the court to let her out. Spears' father and others involved in the conservatorship defended the arrangement, said it rescued her from a low point and that she could move to end it whenever she wanted. Well, maybe she needed it 12 years ago, but she certainly doesn't need it now.
Right.
Doesn't need it now.
She doesn't need it now. All right, but nobody's ending it. Nobody's ending it. What do you think, Vanessa?
I just feel like it gets complex because when you listen to the audio, it's like, again, like we're saying, she doesn't ever technically have someone on her side because all these lawyers are part of the conservatorship and she can't even, it's just complex. It's complicated. And I'm really just hoping that this all gets resolved for her.
I just hope that she has good people around her because I could only imagine being bipolar or having a mental illness and you not taking your meds and like feeling that you're trapped in your own life and not being able to be an adult. Like, if this could be very, it could have a bad ending.
It could have a bad ending, but she has the right to have that bad ending. In other words, she has the right to have that bad ending. She's not. There's lots of people who have money.
No,
in other words, there's lots of people who have money, don't spend it well, and are broke.
When
you have a right to do that if that's what you know.
Right. What I said when I say bad ending, I'm saying if they continue to not allow her to have her money, she could easily just, I don't want to like put it out there, but a lot of people have committed suicide or, for less. So that's why I said I hope that she has good people to at least uplift her spirits because I could not imagine not being able to spend my own money that I worked my entire life, making.
Now on Thursday, Time magazine reported that Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bob Casey were calling for greater federal scrutiny of the conservatorship or the guardianship system. Following the singer's court testimony on June 23rd, longtime members of Spears' team have resigned from their positions. On Monday, Larry Rudolph, the pop star's manager since the mid-90s, informed her temporary conservator Jodi Montgomery and Britney's father, Jamie Spears, that he was stepping down. He wrote, earlier today, I became aware that Britney has been voicing her intention to officially retire. And as her manager, I believe it is in Britney's best interest for me to resign from her team as my professional services are no longer needed. Now, all of a sudden, the guy's retiring 30 years after being the manager.
It's wild.
You know what? I'm sorry. You know what? You can't resign your way out of this one and say, my hands, right. I did the right thing.
Right.
Sorry. I don't buy that.
Nobody in the entire world agrees with you on that.
We got to talk Bill Cosby.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, he called Howard University. Did you see that, Yo-Yo?
Yes, because Phylicia Rashad was just appointed
dean.
He
called on Howard University to support former co-star Phylicia Rashad's freedom of speech after she expressed support for Bill Cosby's exoneration. In a statement, Cosby lashed out at the media, comparing journalists to the rioters who stormed the Capitol in January. And he wrote in a statement through his spokesperson, Howard University, you must support one's freedom of speech, Miss Rashad, which is taught or supposed to be taught every day at the renowned law school, which resides on your campus. So Phylicia Rashad is actually the head of the drama department there. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
I
think if she's not the head, she's a professor. She's the dean of the drama department or whatever, professor. She's high up there in the drama department at Howard University. The dean of Chadwick Boseman College of Fine Arts. So she has a very important position at Howard University.
Right. I will be one to say, though, there's no cancel culture when it comes to Phylicia Rashad, though, because she's too much of a legend. I'll say that.
You cannot cancel Phylicia.
Hell no. Nobody will cancel
nobody
her.
Can cancel her.
No.
So she gets a waiver.
Absolutely. She's a legend. I don't care what anybody says. No cancel for Phylicia Rashad.
Well, Cosby's support of Phylicia Rashad comes after the actress who played his TV wife in The Cosby Show defended the comedian. Rashad said in a tweet last week, finally a terrible wrong is being righted, a miscarriage of justice. Many Howard alumni have expressed disappointment and are not on Jonathan's
Well, I'm a Howard alumni as well.
I know you are. The Howard University responded. Their official statement is that Dean Rashad's initial tweet lacks sensitivity towards survivors of sexual assault. So, freedom of speech, you could take a position. This is what I find. She did apologize.
She did.
Okay, but why are some professors able to take political positions on certain things and not other things? You know, because there's a lot of professors who take political positions. But if they take popular political positions, it's okay. If you take unpopular political positions, it's a problem. You either I'm not either supporting or because there's both sides of the coin.
Right.
You know, people who have survivors of sexual assault, you know, they should be respected. And when you shouldn't be, perhaps, you know, someone who is the victim of sexual assault who says Bill Cosby sexually assaulted this woman, but for the facts all pointed that not only he did this to this particular victim, but many victims and got off because of a technicality, maybe he should be in jail still. Doesn't seem fair as a sexual assault survivor. And Phylicia Rashad feels differently.
And I like what Sasha Ford said. Everyone has the right to support who they want.
Well, that's the point I'm trying to say.
Right.
Right. You know, you can only, you know, when professors at universities support popular positions, nobody has a problem with it. Okay, but when they support an unpopular position, then people have a problem with it. Yes. So you either say no speech or say what you want. And then if you choose Howard University that person doesn't represent what you represent, then you can certainly take as an employer to an employee situation, but to make her backtrack what she says.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. For more Brad Show Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.